Give it a couple more minutes and we'll get started here. But it's definitely been too long. I know we didn't do it 2 weeks ago, but we took a week to kind of reset, and tons of exciting changes that we're excited to talk about. Nice. Yes, absolutely, Sean. And we actually, let me send you a link real quick. We actually post these on our YouTube channel as well. Let me find the playlist real quick if I can. Yep. So yeah, they're posted on our YouTube. Maybe we just don't have a playlist, but yeah, here's our YouTube channel. You'll find them there. But absolutely, yeah, we'll have the audio recording too. So yeah, I can definitely send that to you as well. But we've been doing lots of spaces. I know I've seen some people in some spaces around here. But just lots of engagement. Cool. All right. Well, I guess we'll get started here. I think we're all set on that side. Hey, Christine. I saw your PR. I'm going to check it out right after this, but great work so far. And we'll get some of that documentation set up and talk about that. But yeah, great to see everybody again. I know we usually do these on like a 2-week cadence, essentially. But we took last week to kind of reset a bit and get things in a great spot so that we can take off for the next, rest of the year, hopefully, and not skip a beat on these because these are super important to us just to be able to talk, face to face and give you all the updates that y'all need, as well as, we'll have a few people from our community who will come in today and give demos, talk about their projects, which is super cool. And I am actually, or maybe one of our awesome developer advocates. Yeah, so I'll touch on that as well. So yeah, Jordan is no longer at Pieces. So we've kind of that's essentially why we took a little break, just to kind of restructure a few things. But yeah, so Jordan is no longer on the team. Yep. But yeah, so we'll talk about first, I mean, essentially what I was talking about before, the community, right? So community is everything. And I'm going to post a link in chat right now. This is essentially a place where if you're building anything, post it in there. And this is a great way for us to know, obviously, what you're building. But then also it's a great way of saying, like, maybe next week or the week after, in a meetup, you can come and demo your project, right? So that's great as well. And so feel free to, fill that out. Let us know what you're building. We're definitely all about that. And as well, our discussion board, it's essentially, I'll post this here as well, on open source and our support repo, we have our discussions. So we're really trying to pull more people in to give feedback on just what we're building, even apart from the open source aspect, just, Pieces products as well. You can have, I mean, I've had instances where I was talking to a user and we were talking about a certain feature and we both agreed that should be in. Literally the next day we released it and it was in their hands, right? So just that power, telling people that you can absolutely do that is really key, and we're pushing that right now. So feel free to check both of those boards out. But as far as that goes, I think that's a good intro. And now we'll just hit kind of what we've been doing the past 3 weeks. It's been super busy. You may have seen in some announcements our kind of Dev Hunt launch, and we actually hit #1 on the week, which is awesome. So a round of applause to everybody who kind of helped out there. It was awesome to see the support that we're starting to build around our project. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And yeah, here's a link to that page. it's yeah, it was really cool, really fun, new sort of product hunt ish type of website essentially. But yeah, we got best product of the week, so that was amazing. And then I mean the biggest news I think that has happened or been happening, at least me personally, is just this doc site, the kind of revamp of the doc site. That's kind of been my project for the past 2 weeks, essentially migrating from, we were using a framework called docs.page, and we migrated to Docusaurus. And I'm actually just going to send the repo link. I know there's a tons of links in chat, so hopefully you're not getting lost. But yeah, feel free to check it out. It's super easy to contribute. I have tons of issues actually right now. And we're entering this kind of last 2 weeks of March. And we have really great issues under this kind of cleanup milestone that people can jump in and would love for more contributors to be on there. So if you have free time or are interested in helping out, absolutely, open an issue, pull it down, and ask questions. Of course, we can help you get set up there as well. But super exciting there, and that was really nice to get that kind of that first migration done, so that we can really start to go heads down on the probably more exciting part of this, all of our SDKs. So lots of updates coming around the SDK documentation towards the end of this month and beginning of next month. So right now, I mean, if you have built anything on pieces, the documentation just isn't where it needs to be, and we're totally aware of that. And we are kind of switching that on its head this last 2 weeks. And yeah, absolutely, people in our community, just like Chrissy, she's already getting after it on the docs, which we love to see. And yeah, this community is awesome. We say community so much, and hopefully it doesn't kind of devalue it, but it's so valuable. Y'all are amazing. The fact that we have a Discord server with almost 2,000 of you in here, and most of you are involved in our open source, which is amazing too. It's great to be able to talk right to people as well that are doing exactly what you're doing, and it's kind of a free zone, no hate, right? We're all trying to help each other and learn. So that's amazing. Yeah. Great. Just yeah, round of applause to everybody there. But yeah, back to the SDK docs, really big. We currently have some documentation in our readmes. So we have our repos for the different SDKs, and we have some documentation there, but it just isn't where it needs to be. And so now with this new framework with Docusaurus, we're going to build out really nice docs with examples and kind of recipes and formulas for how to build on pieces. So essentially, yeah, really empowering y'all to be able to pick up our SDK and build whatever you want, right? Pieces OS is so powerful. And I think people will really start to realize that once we get all these docs updated. But no, that was amazing. And speaking of the last 2 weeks as well, we had some amazing Twitter Spaces, and maybe some of you can share, maybe Chave or Random can share that in the chat. But we had some amazing Twitter Spaces. Amitesh, and I think Amitesh is in the chat. Yep, and Arindam. They've been great at hosting these and getting awesome guests in. That's been amazing. So feel free. We do them every Wednesday. We're trying to do them every Wednesday, and so feel free to join our Twitter and see what's going on there. Awesome. And yeah, they'll probably post the links there soon. And then, I mean, as far as kind of product updates go, I actually think I saw Robert in here, which is awesome. I'm going to show a sneak peek. So a lot of people have been asking for this kind of Visual Studio plugin. So we have Visual Studio Code, which is one of the biggest in our plugin kind of pocket, right? So one of our biggest plugins. But Visual Studio is still missing a Pieces plugin. But yeah, Robert Pieces, he is in there. in this in the audience, and I'm gonna show a quick clip of just pieces inside of Visual Studio. He's been doing some awesome work. So let me see if I can pull this up, and because we love doing little sneak peeks of upcoming kind of projects that are amazing. So let's see here. Maybe. Yes, here we go. Here we go. Cool. All right. Hopefully y'all can see that. But this is just a quick little kind of loop of our of the current state. It's really, he's doing an amazing job. It's moving super quick. And I'm pretty sure y'all are really gonna like it. For those who are in Visual Studio, we were able to actually bring the the Copilot that we have in all of our plugins straight into Visual Studio, because it uses the kind of same framework with this web view. So it's really easy to port over all of that straight in. And then obviously you just have to have a little setup in the back end, but Robert's been absolutely killing that, and that was awesome. Great to see there. And I think as far as sneak peeks, I think that's it for this week. But I mean, we're always posting them on Twitter and in even just in our Discord as well. So be on the lookout for that. And I think Chevet's actually joined up here. So hello, Chevet. Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, absolutely. It's really nice to be able to have, just a space for us to send out, kind of the latest before we release it to all these amazing community members. And speaking of kind of other things that are not related to open source ish, this is
Yeah, hey, can you hear me now? Mason?
hey Chevet, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just having some difficulty in speaking. But yeah, as you kind of showcased, right, that I think the biggest use case that we have for Visual Studio is that a lot of folks recently joined the server who had requested for Visual Studio. And of course, there has been a lot of requests earlier. It's really great to see like Robert coming in and really knocking off a major portion of getting that up and running. And we should like see it very soon. So super excited for that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And lots of events coming up, and we're doing the Twitter Spaces. We're getting this back on board with, the 2-week cadence. And be on the lookout, especially for, April and May and June. We really want to host some, hackathons and things like that. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be really awesome. But no, I was literally just, so we had these, I don't know if you can see them very well. We had these really awesome water bottles and in our office, and I picked one up, but we're actually talking about starting like a little shop, which would be super cool, and we can use that for like, obviously giveaways and contests. But if y'all want some pieces merch, I think it's on the way. I'll have to double check with Cole, our chief marketing officer. But we would love to give y'all some merch for the awesome work that y'all are doing. So awesome. That's great. And then the last thing, a lot of review here, but the last thing that I kind of wanted to hit, yes, Cole's awesome. We love Cole. We'll have to get him in here one day, but he's actually on the West Coast. So it is funny for early meetings. He's always up super early, but yeah, we'll have to get him in here one day just to say hey to the community. The last thing I wanted to talk to is essentially, we have all of these open source projects, and essentially we went through all of them and just got a good idea of where they all stand and what the future of them look like. So I will go through a few of them here. I'll share my screen actually and just kind of walk you through where we are in terms of that. So I can close all these and we'll just start here. Okay, so our open source repo, feel free to go check it out. You can post links in the chat about it, but it's a great spot to really just figure out and dive into pieces of open source. So we have all of our documentation. This will obviously be updated very soon. And we don't even have documentation for TypeScript. So we'll definitely be revamping all of this. But what I really wanted to look at is kind of here down. So the probably biggest current project that we have is this TypeScript example project, which essentially is a React project that uses pieces. So going forward, we really like this, and I think Sean is actually here, and he'll talk about his project towards the end of the call. But we really want to push this kind of framework and pieces. So you can think of it as React and pieces. Having these examples where, let's say, I have a React project and I'm looking to get into pieces, I can say, oh, they already have a React example, can dive straight into the code, pull it over into my repo, and really get up and running very quickly. And so I think there's so much that we can do with this. But so this absolutely will keep going, and we'll keep building on top of this. It's a great project. And so it may be kind of renamed to sort of React pieces, or we may just keep it with TypeScript. But it's great to have those examples for people to easily jump in into your projects. Another one here is this vanilla TypeScript project. So this one is really good to get a basic understanding of where or essentially just how to work with the Pieces SDK, Pieces API. This one is essentially where we keep all of our examples. Those examples will actually, maybe in a month or so, be completely on our doc site. So we'll switch all of this from being a GitHub repo to be on our doc site, and this will slowly kind of be depreciated. Just because all the info will be already on our doc site. But this was a great place. Lots of great examples, how to get connected, and, even just how to ask your first question to GPT and all that. So that is kind of where that stands. And then these are great community projects. These have actually been recently updated. But these are all so Desk Buddy and Svelte, which I think Sean's in the audience here. He's behind Svelte, and then Desk Buddy's James. He may not be here, but those are the kind of external projects. And then we also have our Python CLI agent, which Jason I think is actually in the audience as well, and he'll talk about that a bit later. And then we have Streamlit X Pieces, which actually was built by Chevet himself, which is really great. And it kind of builds on that, React pieces, Streamlit pieces, Felt pieces, idea and concept that we're trying to build out right now. But hey, if you have a community project and you would like to kind of send it our way, we would love to kind of showcase, the best of pieces, right? So feel free to send those, and that link can be found. We may send it again, but that link can be found at the very top of the chat, and let us know what you're building. So absolutely, that's kind of where all of our repos stand. And then, I mean, if we look at the SDKs real quick, I think this is the repo. Yeah. So right now, we do have some really good, kind of getting started documentation. And the getting started to your first kind of API call, that will always be in the README, but we're just going to shorten this because it is quite a long README, and essentially is all of our docs right now. So we'll really get those refined over the coming weeks, and really have a great, kind of SDK software for people to tap into. I think that is it as far as our kind of review. That was a long one. We've had a lot going on lately. Chevet, I mean, did you want to add anything there? I think we covered quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. There's anything else to cover, but yes, what you can expect, as Mason covered, that documentation improvement is a huge thing for us, because we have seen the community feedback that there has been, of course, some issue with or some difficulty in terms of just understanding how to get started using the SDK APIs. So that's one of the things that our focus will be, to really help improve the developer experience on using the APIs, so that you can build easily with the help of pieces. So that'll be the major focus in into the next couple of weeks as we kind of end this first quarter sprint and just try to get more projects out there for the public. Like there's one project that's being built right now by Sophia. By I'm not sure if we have Bishoy in the Bishoy is there. So he's been really working on helping improve a lot of the CLI agent code base as well alongside Jason. So yeah, I mean like a lot of potential for building really highly impactful projects, and we'll ensure that the SDK documentation is really good. It's self-sufficient to help you get started understanding what every endpoint means. Yeah, so looking forward to it. And of course, Arindam will probably speak a bit more about the technical glossary that we have been working on. That'll also come out live fairly soon, like at least the first iteration of that. So all of these efforts should help in, helping improve your experience using APIs and not have to rely on coming to us again for like understanding the specific terms. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that technical glossary, we'll hit on that a bit later in the call, but no, that'll be really awesome. That'll be on our doc site, I believe. And it's just a great way of, what is an asset, right? And you can really go and find that, or even just like machine learning terms as well. It'll be a great place to learn, right? Awesome. Thanks, Shivay. So I think if Jason is ready to go, we'll do a quick little CLI demo. I think he's in the audience. We'll see. And he can kind of come up here and say hey to everybody. He's been doing some amazing work on the CLI as well. So let's do this. Let's see if we can figure it out here. There we go. Should be able to come up. Hey, Jason, how are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. This is my first time in Discord doing this. I'm learning the UI right now with you.
Awesome. Yeah. Me too. I've done it a few times, but yeah, it is still somewhat new. But yeah, if you want to kind of just take us through the project, maybe spin it up and show people kind of some of the commands, and then we'll talk a little bit about kind of contributing and all that. That'd be great.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So I
Sweet.
mean, the this is built on the Python SDK, so it's pretty much trying to get all the functionality of pieces into the command line. So instead of having to, specifically use a plugin or something, you can just straight up, grab assets, create assets straight from that command line. So I'll just go ahead and I'll just share my screen real quick.
Perfect.
All right. So hopefully, yes, cool. Okay, so I already have it running right now, but it's super easy to get started on. It's I can leave some instructions if you guys need that on how to get set up. Also made a video, so um, there's a couple of different ways to do this. Is you can either just straight up pull up the command line or whatever, and as long as you have this installed already, you can do things like create assets, list assets, query a large language model. Um, you can do searches, so you can do like an NCS search or an FTS search. So it's pretty much a basis of everything that pieces can do, but like I said already, from the command line. So this CLI is running in a loop right now. Meaning that I don't have to do things like, I'll exit out of it real quick just to show this. If I were to do like pieces help, you'll notice that it's going to sit here and take a second because it has to do all of its checks to get this going. However, if I were to do pieces run, which runs it in a loop, it's going to do that first fire up, but after that, it's going to be super quick and you won't actually have to use pieces in front. So instead of saying pieces help, I can literally just say help and it's there. So just kind of looking through some of the commands, as mentioned, you can list assets, you can list, which was defaulted to 10. However, you could put in list 20, list 30, however many assets you have or that you want to find, you can do that. And that's going to be based on how recently that you opened or changed them. So if I were to just do list real quick, it's going to grab the first 10. Oh, interesting. Huh. Well, that's what live models are for, right? So I've actually never seen this error. I know we just pushed a merge, so I'm not sure what that is. But if I were to do let's just try list models real quick and see if I get that. So here's another example of these are all the models that that you technically have access to that are large language models or machine learning models, things like that. Um, and you can kind of go through each of these, but it's mostly, it's mostly a CRUD app for your pieces CLI. And then you also have things like ask. So I could say like, if I want to ask the large language model something like, I don't know, we'll just do a hello world, which I think it's been a while since I've done this, so we'll see. But yeah, so it's going to open up the WebSocket. It's sometimes a little bit finicky. So for instance, like right there, it timed out because it's the first boot up. So I'm gonna just do it again real quick just to see if, since now the WebSocket's open, if it actually streams here. So it didn't stream there, so I have to look into that as well. There are some issues up here, which definitely that needs to be added if it's not already. So if you notice, if you go over to issues, we got plenty of stuff open. So definitely happy to have people contribute on that. But yeah,
Absolutely.
and then things like search as well. So if I want to do like if I want to do specifically a fuzzy search, well, fuzzy search is going to be by default, but then you can also do like an NCS or an FTS. So yeah, probably the best way to think of this is it's a base, it's a foundation for you to build on that can really give you access to the two pieces from the command line, specifically using Python. So I'm not sure if you guys, if there's any questions or how you want to handle this, Mason, but
Yeah.
more than happy. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And that's the beauty of live demos. They never go, 100%. But no, this project is awesome, and it's honestly a great example for just how to build with pieces in Python. And obviously, it's a great CLI. We have a pretty big pull request actually from Bishoy. I don't know if he's in here. He may be. But yeah, pretty big pull request with some awesome features coming. But like Jason said, yeah, it's pretty foundational, right? It's CRUD, has all your basic operations, but now we want to take that really strong foundation and build some amazing features on top of it. I know one I'm excited for is this kind of pieces commit feature. So some people may have heard of this AI commits repo. It's a pretty big repo, but you can generate commit messages automatically. It'll just look at kind of your changes and generate nice commit messages. But we're actually looking to bring that into our CLI, and so that you can utilize Pieces OS instead of maybe paying for OpenAI credits or anything like that. So that'll be an amazing feature. And I think Chevet mentioned it a little bit, but Chevet, Sophia, and I believe Bishoy are working on kind of that project in a separate repo as well. Is that correct, Chevet?
Yep. Yeah. Amazing.
Awesome. Yeah. But no, so they're kind of doing a little bit of research on, what's the best way to get, really high quality messages using, the Pieces SDK, which is really cool. And maybe if they have a link to that, they can post that there if anyone's interested. Awesome. So, but thanks. I mean, that was great. Jason, I'm sure we'll have you back on here to talk about kind of future CLI or other, open source or Pieces stuff.
Awesome.
But
Thanks for
awesome.
having me, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Appreciate your time. So yeah, like I said, we have a lot of changes coming. A lot of actually contributions. A big contribution, like I mentioned, from community member named Bishoy. You can find that on the CLI agent repo and check out that PR. But we should be getting it merged. I know we're meeting with Bishoy next week just to talk over some kind of just I concepts that we want to kind of take with the CLI. But no, that'll be great to get in. And so kind of moving along with community projects, I think Sean is still here. I'll invite him up here and he can talk a little bit about this awesome Spelt project that he's working on. Hey, Sean.
Yeah, hi. Ooh, 1 second. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I recently just got across the line where I wanted to get to with the UI in terms of like really building out a Copilot chat that like with a chat history because for anyone who's tried the TypeScript examples or the React examples, often when you pull in a stream, it's really just like a continuous stream of string text. So I wanted to like move things along a little bit. And like having spoken in the chat, in the open source chat, some people have mentioned like trying out different JavaScript frameworks and getting frustrated. And I was there as well, like for the last few weeks, until I tried Svelte. And a lot of people who try Svelte end up speaking like they're Svelte evangelists, and I'm no different. I really like, I've fallen in love with this particular framework because it's just so easy. And the time invested in trying to get things like reactive is so minimal. So like even if you make mistakes, which I've made a ton already, going back and reviewing your code and fixing it, you can almost always do it just like completely locally to one component, and it's beautiful. If I can figure out how to share my screen, oh yeah, it's right here.
Sweet. Yeah, if you want to kind of just walk through, the current state of what you're building, and maybe I shared the link to the repo, so maybe we can get some contributions there as well. But yeah.
Okay, it's telling me Discord may not be able to record the contents of your screen until it's quit. I might have to quit and reopen just to be
Okay,
safe.
that's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, back in a sec.
Cool. Yeah, that's happened to me many times. And that always gets you the first time. But I think this is a great example. And we hope to, bring on more community members, and people just building awesome things with pieces. Each meetup, obviously we're talking. I think I saw Olivia. Yes, she is in the audience. I think she helped out on a space, was in the audience, maybe was a speaker as well. But that was awesome. And we're doing just a lot of things around just connecting with the community, around pieces, around our open source products, and even just concepts, around developer relations and AI, just developer development in general. So it's really awesome that we're able to do this, and yeah, we hope to continue building a really nice community and foundation to build on later on. Let's see. I think he's back. Let's see if he can do it this time. We all good, Sean?
Let's see. Go live. Okay.
Perfect. Yep.
All right. Can you see my VS Code here?
We see Discord.
All right. 1 second. Change windows. Let me just minimize this.
And it might just be good to just share your screen as well if it's not popping up.
Oh yeah, entire screen. Yeah, let's do that. Entire
Perfect.
screen go live, and now you can see VS Code.
Crystal clear.
Okay, perfect. Right. So as it was also really cool to hear about JSON and the CLI commands, because that might come in very useful for me later on. But as you mentioned, Mason, like there are a lot of examples in the open source repo right now where people can really go through this piece of, I don't want to say boilerplate code, because this is actually I believe it's also Chevet and Jordan's work, but this example comes up everywhere where you're just building a singleton class to pull in like JSON data from like your queries in the Pisces client.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Pisces client.
Yes.
And really, like in terms of just keeping it to Svelte right now, the only thing that Svelte really cares about in our environment is that we first of all have define this class, and second of all that we are using the send message method to set the message and keep it updated every time we send the query and get an answer back from the Pieces client. So really, this is like the only piece of code that we need to make public and make sure that Svelte can actually share that instance in this page component here. I won't go too far into how you build in Svelte in terms of patterns, but really like every Svelte file, like .svelte file in Svelte is known as a component, much like like a lot of frameworks like Vue and React. Um, and yeah, you could like the beauty of Svelte is that you can pretty much like once you're happy that you've done all your TypeScript building beforehand, you can pretty much just stick to one component in Svelte and just work on that without having to jump back and forth. You don't have to go back, to Copilot or this or that. You can really like spend like a 20 minutes to an hour straight just building your reactivity on the front end purely in one component. And I think that's what a lot of people who become fans of Svelte, they like that about it. So the like Svelte's kind of like I don't know if you want to call it a framework or library or API, but it's pretty minimal for the amount of effects that we can do. And what we're looking to get to in the end is something like, if I could pull up my browser, something like this, right? This is what it's going to look like on the front end. It's just a Copilot chat conversation, and where it's a little bit different to the other ready-made examples is that instead of having just one consistent stream of like JSON parsed data streaming on this side, you can now actually break up your chat into the pieces Copilot and your queries on that side, different color coded if you want, and it will be a chat history. Like Jason, I actually ran into problems with my demo this morning. It's not online.
Oh
I
no,
sent
that's
it.
okay. It looks really great. People in the chat are going crazy about it. It looks really great. Props.
Yeah, cool.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you guys can see where it's going because it's not actually working. Like it was
No,
working fine for the last 2 weeks. I haven't made any changes, but when I spun it up this morning, it's no longer working. I don't know why. Something's
okay.
gone weird with Copilot. But anyway,
All right.
you get
Well,
you get enough of an idea here in terms of the UI, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, no, it looks great, and I'm excited to see kind of, especially if we get some, people contributing, and I'm
yeah,
excited to see where this goes.
yeah, and it really takes it's like minimal time investment just to get to this point, right?
Yep.
Let me pull up VS Code again. So like I was saying, in your component, you really only like from the Copilot stream controller singleton, you really only care about like sharing the same instance. You load it in this mount lifecycle in Svelte, much like you would do in other frameworks, just to know that you're sharing the same singleton. And the only method that you're inheriting from Copilot Stream Controller is the send message method, which is again making sure that you pull in the updated message. And where you're doing like where you start building this felt is, for example, I've done it this way where I declared something called a chat history. It's an array. Um, you can just set properties like role, user, and assistant, and then in this loop here, as we're pulling in we're using the send message method from the Copilot to pull in the latest message. If there's any chat history there, like it hasn't depleted to 0, we want to append it. And if it's if the last message came from the assistant, from the Copilot, we append it to the assistant. Otherwise, we escape this and we append it to our own query like this, right? So
Really
when that's
clean.
done,
Nice.
just append it to that. Yeah. A few other functions here just to make sure that like anytime we if for example this chat overlaps this frame here, that it always stays updated to the bottom. We'd have to keep scrolling ourselves, and yeah, just handling whenever we press enter, typing a query, or if we press send, we want to make sure we clear this box. So that's all these functions are about, right? But that's not really the magic of Svelte. I mean, you can do all of that in TypeScript. The magic of Svelte is when you get to the main body, and you can do these like, I don't know what you want to call them, but I mean, this is all Svelte magic right here, where
Yep.
you can actually do loops inside of JavaScript brackets and basically load in your chat history and really like start declaring asynchronous functions all within the main body of your HTML body of your page component, right? So what we're doing here, this is all Svelte here, but like not only are we gonna apply some like sort of transition effects, which I'll get into immediately after, but first of all, we're gonna do some async awaits, asynchronous functions, where we load in the chat content, and when we know that the chat content is present, then we apply some HTML to it. And this in Svelte is called a HTML. I forgot exactly what the term was, but it's like a HTML declaration or whatever. You just use
Yep.
a at HTML tag, and that means that essentially anything. This is specific to strings. So anytime you pass JSON into a string, this is like really a svelte like method for using string data and immediately converting it to HTML. Why would you want to do that? It's so that as soon as you load it into HTML, your style sheet is going to get applied to your div classes here. So I've got like div class flex, div class chat wrapper, and all of that is styled at the bottom here, right? So that's how you get the like red box for the user content, white box for the assistant content, and even all of this, right? And all like literally all of the styling is and the reactivity is all done in the main body and the style sheet, all in one component. So really what I'm getting at here is that like if you wanted to build something very fast and not feel like the pain of things going wrong and bang your head against the wall, which inevitably you will do because I've done it myself. Really like the time you have to invest into getting it right is minimal. Like it's not like you're not bouncing back around between different components or different classes. Once you're happy with your TypeScript is set up, you can really just like play around with it, style it however you want, make it as reactive as you want in terms of like whether you want, like for example, this is completely my choice, but whenever I send in the query and it's still waiting for the promise to resolve here, for the chat content to load, I just put in a little UI element, like a typing indicator that you often see in Copilot. So it's just like 3 dots, like
Yep.
mimicking the Copilot typing. So you can just add in all sorts of fun UI elements like that, and it's really like minimal time investment whatsoever.
That's
That
really
pretty much
nice.
covers everything.
Yeah, I think
Just
you. No, go ahead.
sorry, just the one
Yeah,
thing that I was going to explain was like these are again like Svelte components that are pretty minimal. You just import them. These are only 3 imports that I've made from the Svelte libraries here, and one of them is called Fly, and you just import it like you do anything, and you apply it to your div element and set some like transitional like parameters here, so that this is like how you get that sort of like stream effect where like it's someone really having a live chat with you rather than just like text being loaded immediately onto the screen.
yeah,
But all of this again is all within the same component. So yeah, I just want to get across the point that you can really work on your like event-based management reactivity all within one page and have a lot of fun with it.
absolutely. Yeah, and that reminds me of a little bit about how kind of Vue is written, kind of just syntactically. It's very close to HTML, but you're kind of adding decorators along the way. But you mentioned a
Mhm.
really great point, especially when you're starting small projects, of not over abstracting too early. So
Yeah,
building everything in one place, getting it to a state where you're good with the current state, and then you can start to say, hey, I've used this line of code a couple of times, maybe I can add some parameters and make a component out of it. And you explained that perfectly, and I think that is a trap that a lot of people will fall into, setting up all the file tree, the structure before you even have any code written.
yeah.
So yeah, super important.
Okay. Well, I'm glad it was. Yeah, I hope I got the message across. And thanks, Sophia. I'm really glad that everyone seems to take well to it. So yeah, hope you have fun
Absolutely.
with it if you play with it yourself.
Yeah, thank you for coming and demoing. Absolutely. I'm sure we'll see you on the lives
Yeah.
again very soon. But
Okay.
yeah, thank you for your time, Sean. Have a good one. Um, awesome. So that was awesome. Yes, here's a link. I think I still have it. There's a link to his repo. Go and check it out. And maybe Sean can put some issues up about kind of where he kind of plans to take the project and help people contribute. That was awesome though, Sean. It looks great. Totally looks great. Looks really clean. So good job on the UI. All right, so let's I think we're coming to the end here, and we'll mention a few other things. Want to keep cautious of everybody's time. We'll try and keep this to an hour. But Sophia, I'll invite her up to the stage if I can find it. There we go. And she's going to talk a little bit about a really awesome Twitter space that we have upcoming. Hey, Sophia.
Hi everyone. Hi. Good day. I hope everyone is doing great. I'm here to talk about our upcoming Twitter space. So we all know that this month is a month that we are using to celebrate women, and next week we would be hosting a Twitter space to celebrate women in tech in our pieces organization where you can come hop on the space, learn from our experience, and we would also give you an opportunity for you to also share your experience. So more information would be dropped by Monday, but this is just a little teaser of our upcoming space. I hope to see you all there.
Yeah, awesome. That'll be amazing. I know, yeah, Sophia will be there. Another developer advocate, Nishka, will be there, as well as some other Pieces team members as well. And that'll be great. Yeah, totally looking forward to listening in on that. But thank you. Yeah, thank you for the update, Sophia. All right. And then I think the last update that we have is just around our technical glossary. I know we mentioned it a bit earlier in the stream, kind of related to this kind of docs push, this kind of docs revamp that we're doing. But this technical glossary, I'll invite Random, another one of our awesome developer advocates up here, to talk a little bit about that. I know him and Chevet have been doing some really great work. What's up?
Yeah, am I audible? Yeah. So yeah, basically me and Shiva have recently started working on the technical glossary. So our main aim is to explain those terms, so folks who are just getting started with pieces, they can easily get started with those terms. Like if I want to mention like assets or relevance, what is score, how you can improve score and enrichment. So it will be easier for folks just to go to the technical glossary, and basically the format we have been thinking of is it will be a first it will be a small description, and if you want to know more about it, and there will be a separate page for that to where we will add some code examples as well to give a detailed explanation of that term. So yeah, that's what we are currently working on, and I hope you will all like that.
Yeah, I think that'll absolutely help people, along with kind of this SDK push that we're doing with, the new examples and all of that. It'll help people kind of understand, because we do have a lot of kind of internal kind of language that we use, but it's good to definitely share kind of what it actually means to everybody else. We kind of know in our brains, but obviously educating is essentially, you want to get that out into the world so people can use it. But awesome, thank you for the update, Random. And with that, I think, let me double check. I think that covers everything that we wanted to hit. I did want to do like just a ending shout out to all of our developer advocates. I think almost all of them are in here, but they've obviously, they've been doing an amazing job between Twitter Spaces, engaging everywhere, all over the internet. You'll find them in the corners. And then obviously just doing some amazing work on the code side as well. They're doing work that it shows, so we're really appreciative of them. Arendam, Chevet, Amatesh, Anushka, and the whole team, Sophia, of course. And actually James just joined, and he's kind of leading the Desk Buddy project, but maybe we can have James do a little, maybe next week or the week after, we can get him on and talk, but that would be awesome. But yeah, shout outs, obviously community. It's everything. Shout outs to everybody that joined this space, took time out of their day. We're really appreciative of that. and obviously the contributors to all of our open source projects as well, taking time out of their day to, you know, write code for free. It's not something that comes up kind of naturally, and you have to get it is kind of like a mind shift a little bit, but it helps you in so many ways. So many ways. Just, I mean, connecting you with people, but also just increasing your skills, learning new technologies every single day, working with new projects. So I think that's a wrap on this. I think this is our 6th meetup, but I think that's a wrap. I wanted to thank everybody again for, you know, giving their time to us and sticking around through that demo, multiple demos, and the whole entire show. But thank you again to everybody, and enjoy your weekend. Bye.